Hey, good friends. Nice to see you. It's Thursday. That means it is time for the Tarot Topics Weekly Newsletter Recap. I'm Christiana Gaudet. I am your Tarot Fairy Godmother. Welcome to our digital village, or shall I say, welcome to another General Assembly of the Digital Village. What do we do on Thursdays? Well, every week, I put out a newsletter. It comes into your inbox on Wednesday. If you have not read this week's, or if you'd like to subscribe, there are links to do both of those things on the website. In the description, as well as links to become a member of this channel. Thank you. And have a reading with me and get your ticket for StaarCon 5. Let me all remind you, if you happen to be ticket holders of StaarCon 2024, we have a session in the lounges tonight, 5:30. Please join us. All right. So every week I do a different topic, and then we come on here to do readings about that topic and talk about it. One thing, if you've been reading along, you have been noticing that my topics are like more and more obviously, organically being generated from my experiences within my community. So it might be something that happens in this group that will create a topic. This topic came from last Sunday's tarot meetup in person at Panera. And Audrey M., who's a member here, I don't know if you're here right now, Audrey, but she did send me her notes, but it was after I did the newsletter. So what's in the newsletter is like what I could remember, but I do have pages of Audrey's notes, so you may be hearing more on this topic. What happened in the meetup, I will often go around the room and say, okay, who wants to learn what today? We have 2 hours. Who wants to learn what? And there was a lot of consensus around intuition. So we had an amazing conversation about intuition. And it was so interesting what came up. Like, I was so impressed with sort of the high level stuff that was coming up in this conversation. I was also interested that the things that you might think, meditate more. And I mean, is meditation good? Absolutely. And will it help you with your intuition? Yes. But that was not something that came up. And what came up were these like very practical things, what to do at the tarot table, working with the cards, and in life to be more intuitive. And they were things like listen to the person you're talking to, listen to your inner voice, listen to your psychic signalings, pay attention to the body. What does truth feel like in the body? And so it was really pretty high level. I was really impressed with it. So that's why I did a newsletter about steps to intuition. And we are here today to do readings. Anything you want to know about intuitive development, about your own intuition, about something you intuit to be true, but is it really? And the thing I will start this conversation and any conversation about intuition with is the idea, like, I have people come to me and say, my intuition was wrong. What is my answer? Bitch. That was never your intuition. I usually leave out the bitch part. That's in my head only. But yeah, if it was wrong, then objectively it was not your intuition. It was something else masquerading as intuition. And what are the things that masquerade as intuition most often? Say it with me: fear and desire. So we talked about how to disconnect from that. And Betty Fletcher. Oh, Betty, I'm going to read your wise comment, but Barbie, that's so funny. Most sentences start with bish in my head. Yeah. Oh, and yes, this is interesting. if you're reading for someone or have something to say, they'll tell you your intuition is off if they want to deny what you're saying. And that's absolutely true. But what that means, like from a professional perspective, it means to me, like, okay, I had this experience recently. A client I love working with, we work together very regularly. And I thought I made a mistake. I have been knowing a particular truth about her that she's not ready to see for the longest. And I thought she was ready. And so I just introduced it like, well, maybe there's this. And she's like, no, your intuition is wrong. Sorry, you're right about most things, but not about that. And here's the thing. I wasn't offended. I didn't feel shut down. What I felt like was I was wrong. She wasn't ready. She wasn't ready. And so as much as it can be hurtful when our clients do this, or our friends in a casual reading do this, it is kind of on us to know when someone's ready. So yeah, you know, it's a hard thing. But the thing is, if you're reading for someone and they act like that, that can just shut you right down, like either in anger or in embarrassment or in confusion and lack of confidence. It can take your confidence and that'll shut you right down too. So yeah, a lot of things. And now, Betty Flesher, we did our predictions webinar Tuesday. If you missed that, it's probably worth a watch, talking about tarot predictions. And here's something from Betty Flesher. Betty, thanks for being a member for more than 3 years. Thanks for sending me like the really great things that I use for magic at the table here. I do appreciate you so much. Did y'all see my hat? I love that. I haven't figured out how to use that magically here, but I'm figuring it out. Anyway, Betty, I took your advice about putting my fears and expectations, etc., in a box and putting it aside. Really felt the difference. Thanks for that. Thank you so much. I'm glad that works for someone other than me. So often I just come up with these things that work for me. And I'm like, yeah, do this. And it's nice to hear that it works for others. I'll share that with you in just a minute for those who missed it. Angelic Michelle, it's so happy to see you. I'm sorry you've been unwell. We have missed you too. Sending you so much healing, so many healing vibes. And everyone do that. Angelic Michelle has been with this channel, very often a member, for quite some time. So send lots of vibes to Angelic Michelle. So the box exercise is simply, when I'm trying to do a reading for myself, for anyone else, I have an imaginary visualized box. It sits right here. It's ornate. I can describe it to you. I open it up and I consciously pour into it worries, concerns, where I'm not feeling well in my body, attachments, desires, fears, all of it. Slam that lid shut so I can hear it, put it to the side, and then do the reading. And Betty just did that and it worked for her. So yeah, it really does feel a difference, and it feels like a difference. So I'm so glad that's the case. Okay, so Joyous Ocean, it is a beautiful box. And the first time I described it to someone, they did not understand that it was a visualization. And they're like, where is it? I want to see it. And I'm like, got to get into my mind to see it. Lila used to do that with a large trash bag. That's funny. All right, y'all. So what are we doing readings on? Anything having to do with intuition, your own intuitive development, something you think is your intuition, but is it really? The time you thought that was your intuition and it went so badly, WTF happened. How can you be more intuitive at the tarot table? Anything at all regarding this very broad topic. Let's get it going. Over to Card Cam we go, where you can see, I am so enamored of this deck. And it's funny because I hated it when it first came out. But here we are. And that's an interesting thing. Like if you get a deck that you don't like and you have room on your shelf and you don't need to recoup the money right away, hang on to it. Hang on to it. maybe for a year, maybe for 2, maybe for 10. And eventually you'll go to your shelf and you'll be like, oh, who are you? And it's your new best friend. Weird how that works, right? Speaking of which, oh my goodness gracious. If you have a StaarCon 2024 ticket, we're doing a lounge session tonight, 5:30 p.m. And that's what we're doing. We're talking about decks. December it is. So join us. All right. All right, here we go. I will take these in the order in which I see them. Y'all know the drill, starting with Barbie Bird. So good to see you. Thanks for being a member. Okay. I often find I tend not to ask many questions and just observe. Is this a method of my intuition at work? A more specific question, are there any situations now where I'm avoiding listening to my intuition? I'd love some insight there. So a couple of things. Oh, Angelic Michelle, you have and love this deck. That's so great. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I used to hate it. Now I love it. Funny how these things happen. So Barbie, I think that's a good thing to sort of put out in general, the idea that being observant can be part of intuition. And I think that's part of listening. In fact, I'm going to say it's one of the first parts of intuition. And in fact, I can tell you with a little bit of shame how I had to learn about that at the tarot table, because I would notice that certain clients would keep bringing up things that weren't really pertinent to what I thought we were there to talk about. We're just kind of an aside, and they'd keep bringing them up, and I'd sort of be like, yeah, no, like not being rude, but not really acknowledging it. And then finally having to realize that if a client is saying something, no matter how silly or ridiculous it seems, they say it once, they say it twice, they say it 3 times. If your intuition has not picked up on that, you're not doing the job. And I had to scold myself on that one. So, yeah, there it is. Oh, Barbie, I struggle against asking questions when put on the spot, and I wonder if it goes against how I learn. You may be better at observing it, quietly observing and drawing conclusions. And then what you do is when you draw that conclusion, you can vet that conclusion. Vet it with tarot, vet it with your own body, vet the conclusion that you draw. So I think that's real. So let's just do a reading on that. Is this your intuition at work? The Chariot, very much so. And I think it gives you good guidance. And then the more specific question, any situations right now where you're avoiding listening to your intuition because you don't want to look at it, right? And that's legit, man. We don't have to want to look at everything. We don't have to look at everything. Someone at my meetup, I was tired. It was the end of the day. We were like packing up, and she says, hey, do you do an end of the year reading, a beginning of the year reading for yourself? I was like, nah. I do it for clients. If clients want it, I think it's a great practice. Do I do it for myself? Nah. And, we don't all have to do all the things. There it is. Okay. Are you avoiding listening to your intuition? Oh, definitely. Definitely. 3 of Swords. Of course you are. What are the areas in your life right now where you are actively avoiding that knowledge, that information that will take you on a particular journey? Because why do we avoid? We avoid because we don't want to go on that journey right now. And sometimes we shouldn't avoid because the journey is needed. Sometimes I think it's perfectly okay. Do that journey later. It's okay. It's okay. We don't have to do every freaking bit of healing in every single moment. My goodness. So, what's going on here, Barbie? In what area, what situation are you not listening to your intuition? Okay, I'm going to say something. Jackie, good to see you. Jackie Masters, glad you're here. I'm going to say something, and I'm going to say it with my full chest. We have Strength reversed. Is it the Deuterang? What is the card I cannot read? Strength reversed. I don't like the Deuterang. Okay. The Deuterang, you get the fool. And for those of you who don't know, we've adopted Diana Price's term from her astrology group for the guy, the male X who comes back around during Mercury retrograde, the deuterang. And Barbie has one right now. But that's the fool. You know exactly what you're doing. You're taking the risk. You know you're taking the risk. I think you are fully understanding what you're doing with the deuterang. And I think it's justifiable, and I think you might as well enjoy it. You know, we've all been there. It's only when we bullshit ourselves about that we're not in good shape. But, oh, Barbie, what are you avoiding then? The things that piss you off. Look at the reactions. Look at the reactions that you have to certain things, any things, work, family, friends, out and about, things you see on social media. When something brings up a significant anger response, a significant, what the actual, that kind of thing, you need to look at that. You need to look at the ways you've been taught not to express anger, the ways you've been taught that your anger is not valid, the ways that you have been taught that you can't give voice to anger. And I think because of that, you have not learned the language skills to say when something has climbed up your butt the wrong way, to know how to say it or when to say it. And of course, here we are in Mars retrograde. So we're all wanting to say it. I can't tell you the number of things I've started to say and then delete, erase. So keep that in mind too. But the things that traditionally bring up upset for you are real. And you need to be able to own that, because that feeling of anger and upset is your intuition telling you, Barbie, got to deal with this. This closet is full to bulging. You got to clean it out. Barbie, yeah, communication and knowing when to say is huge for me. I'm biting my tongue for sure. And sometimes that's super important. Sometimes it makes sense to have a hole in your tongue. And sometimes it does not. And this is where your intuition and your logic will guide you, but it's a deficit from your childhood. Your parents did not have the ability to teach you these things. I didn't teach my kids those things either. I wish to God, and I think this is the purpose of grandparents, maybe, but I wish that somehow, like if I could have a child now, and I had the time and the energy and my body would do it, I would be such a better mother now. But then I would have to live long. You know what I mean? Like, it's a weird thing. But I think, like, I spend a lot of time thinking and talking about generational trauma. And there is certainly egregious trauma, abuse, neglect, terrible things that happen. But there are also the fact that when they had us, our parents were just kids. And they did the best they could, most of them. But we're all healing from that. Right. Barbie, my mom is such an amazing grandma compared to how she was as a mom for me and my sister. And yeah, of course, we make better grandmothers than we do mothers. And it's a really, really sad state of affairs. And I don't know how to fix that, but it is the truth. It is the truth. She's wiser. Right. Age brings wisdom, and yet we have children when we're ourselves just past being children. So, yeah, there it is. So that's what I think for you, Barbie. What do you think? Gina Mnuchin, it is so good to see you, my friend. Thanks for being a member for more than 3 years. In what ways and in what situation does my intuition work best? What can I do to nurture and develop the voice of my intuition? And thank you for using members-only emojis. Gemini Sun's like, wow, deep. I will send you an email this afternoon, Gemini Sun, by the way. Have a good meeting, Barbie. Take care. Yeah. It is. Right. And Gemini Sun's just coming up. Her kids are just coming up. Her kid, I think just one kid. So yeah, I totally get it. I totally get it. Okay. Jeannie, I love this question. In what ways and in what situations does my intuition work best? Here's what I'm thinking. I think you are very good at knowing when and how to be supportive of the people you love. You are very good at sort of intuiting the people that you love and where they're at. Sometimes you take that too far and it causes you too much worry, but you are good at this. I think you are also very good at figuring out, there's always a set of possibilities, whether it's who are the people or what's the right thing to do or whatever. There's a set of possibilities. I think you're good at intuitively, very wisely narrowing down that set of large possibilities to a smaller set. And I think you're working on being able to be like, yeah, I'll just call this one and that will be the one. Like you still have to call everybody. But I think you'll get to a point where you'll be able to be like, yeah, this one. So what can I do to nurture and develop the voice of my intuition? The Emperor. Trust. More than anything, Jeannie, I think it's about trusting yourself. And I know the argument. The argument is, well, I trusted myself all of this time and not everything went the way I wanted it to go. But you're still here and you are poised to do great things. So maybe it did. I mean, not the way you wanted it to go, but the best way it could. So I think there's something here about trust. And I'm also going to say with the Emperor, working, this is so interesting, but very specifically, work with fire. Don't set your place on fire, but like intuit with a candle, light a candle when you do a tarot reading. Bring fire into it in safe ways. All right. Yeah, I think that's very true, baby cakes. You could be a better grandparent than you were the parent because you lived through it once. You have all the past experience and there's no more pressure or unknown and you're much more rested. Yeah. Yeah. Trey, I see your correction and you're coming up next. Good. Trey Cameron, thanks for being a member for more than a year. What are the strengths of my intuition? What can I do to use it better for my benefit, maybe in creativity and otherwise? And what you meant to say was strengths and weaknesses. The strength, Hermit, is you're absolutely willing and able to be on your own, in your own space, in your own energy, and really listen in. Listen in. So you, especially for a person your age, you are really good at diving in and listening to your inner voice, your higher self, your guides, guardians, whatever you believe that is. You're good at that. Weakness, Hierophant. Well, then after, isn't it interesting? You got Hermit, Hierophant. In my mind, those cards go together. They're both clergy. They're both teachers. But it's interesting that to me, the Hermit is so much more advanced than the Hierophant because the Hermit's like, yeah, I'm just going to listen and figure this out. Oh, Trey, I've always been weirdly happy with being alone. One lady told me I've been a monk before. Yeah, in multiple past lives. Makes sense. But then there's the Hierophant. The weakness is the Hierophant, where you want to, where you like, here's what I think. intuition can be very loosey-goosey. It feels a certain way. And then there's a minute you just know, and then it's not loosey-goosey at all. But there is that whole process of needing to be in that space of flow. The Hierophant is like, what is it? What is it? Tell me now. I want to know now. Give me that information right now, and it damn well better be right. So I think you've got that voice in you too. And that voice does not help you. And I also wonder if you doubt your own spiritual expertise, which you should not doubt. And I also wonder if you are like, I just feel like sometimes there can be imposter syndrome around your knowing. Trey, I do doubt at times. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Yep. Okay. And I have a tendency to get stuck in my head, which can be a very Hierophant thing. But if you're stuck in your head with the Hierophant, I feel bad for you because he can be an asshole objectively. I mean, the Hierophant can be a wise teacher, a great authority, the person who helps you out of a jam, the person who leads you to where you need to be, for sure. But he can also be a know-it-all asshole. Jarella, hi, yeah. We are talking about intuition. The questions are about intuition today. Okay. Ness, this is so fun. Thanks for being a member for more than 2 years. Thanks for using members-only emojis. What are the, oh, here it is. Trey, you have never, ever, ever come across that way on here. Never, ever in a million years. And I think it's all in your head. I think it's you shit-talking yourself in a mean way. I don't think you ever come across that way here or with other people. Ever. But I think there is a voice in your head that comes across that way to you. And I think that person should sit down and shut up. Yeah. All right. Ness, I'm an intuition mess. Apparently, Ness is a mess. Ness, seriously, thanks for being a member. We really appreciate you. In cartoons, people have an angel and a demon in each side telling them things. Mine is more like a riot of multiple fractions gone wild, which is why I really need coaching with you. Right, and whenever you're ready, we're ready. Not sure what to ask other than how to wrangle all that chatter. You know, there was this TV show a long time ago called Herman's Head, where Herman was this guy and he'd go through his life, but then we would also see the committee table, the conference table in his head with the committee. And there's a person who plays his ego. There's a person who plays his sensitivity, a person who plays his intelligence. And it's so interesting because that really always has felt like a great illustration. Like when all those voices start arguing, that's what's going on. So it's not just you, Ness. I think it's a lot of us. But the important thing to recognize is, yeah, none of that chatter is likely the intuition. Once in a while, the intuition will get on top of the table and scream over everybody else, but very rarely. At least in my experience. Maybe for some people more. But in my experience, the voice of intuition whispers while everyone else is shouting. That's where meditation comes in, to really calm the shouting voices. But I also think that you can handle that by addressing the shouting voices one at a time. Trey, intuition is quiet. Very true. Yeah. So I would make a list of what all those voices are, what they're saying, and maybe like pull a card for each one. Like, what do I do with this? And really handle this in a very practical way, because the group dynamic in your head isn't working well. And so I would just try to identify what the different voices are, what they're saying, and then use tarot or something else to figure out what to do to quell that. The theory is you do all that, and I believe the voice left over is going to be intuition. So I think this is all just learning how to hear it. And I think you think that your brain is messier than it should be. And I know you're a creative. Show me a creative who doesn't have a messy brain, and I will show you an incredibly dangerous person. So I think we should celebrate your messy brain. And just learn how to work with it, and your intuition will come forward. All right. Michelle F., it's so good to see you. Thanks for being a member for more than a year. Thanks for using members-only emojis. I think I'm pretty good at listening to my intuition. So is there anything the universe wants me to know about how well I'm actually listening, and if there are things I can do to improve even more? Agreed that you're good at it because Queen of Swords, so agree. Ness, you are very welcome. Is there anything the universe wants you to know to improve even more? Michelle F., the Hermit reversed. Do you do readings? Like, I don't know what your deal is. Are you doing readings for people? Because if you are, that's good. You should be. If you are just like casually talking to friends, and if you're one of those people that friends tell their problems to, your intuition works for other people too. And so be willing to have these conversations with friends. Is that helpful? I don't know. But yeah, I think you're pretty spot on. That's the case. Oh, Gemini Sun, so weird how the tarot topics and what everyone in this group experiences always correlates with what I'm going through and need advice on. Grateful for this community. Thank you. Thank you for that. And I do really sort of try to tune in. And, you know, as I said, this came from my experience, but it was from the community talking. So there it is. Oh, that is insightful. Okay, good, Michelle. That is excellent. Talking to people and friends is more up my alley. Yeah, and you get things about them, and if it's appropriate, be willing to share and be willing to get their feedback, because that will help you know how you're hearing, how you're communicating, how much is getting lost in the telephone game. Because that's what it is, isn't it? When we're dealing with intuition and then conveying that intuition to someone else, it is a grand telephone game. Y'all know what the telephone game is, right? You whisper something to someone and then they whisper it all the way. And like 10 people later, what comes back is not the same thing. So yeah. There it is. Okay, good. Thank you, Michelle. Yeah. Oh, and Jeannie has come up with a really smart thing here. Recognizing that Ness is also a creative. We have a lot of creatives in this room, I think. Recognizing that Ness is also a creative, that using all of those different voices, if you were doing something that involved characters, could really help with character development. Yeah, exactly, Michelle, because things can get confused at any point. So that's why hearing that feedback is so necessary. All right. Yeah, we do. We are a creative village for sure. Absolutely. Oh, you know, why don't we do a class? Like I don't have room on the schedule for new classes until February. Why don't we do a class for like creatives? Like we're creatives, you know, like why don't we do something like that? That'd be fun. All right. Gemini Sun, you're up next. Thanks for being a moderator. We appreciate you. I've always found myself to be a very intuitive person, but lately my mind and thoughts have been working overtime against me. During meditation, I can calm it down, and that's where meditation is so important. But the rest of my day, my brain is straight chaos. What advice do the cards have for me? All right, I'm going to share with you the technique that I'm going to use here. Because dear Gemini Sun has acknowledged her brain as straight chaos. So, like, if I were a doctor and could take an MRI of chaos, I would want to see that. What does that look like? What does the chaos in your head look like? I am not a doctor. I do not have MRI. But can tarot be a psychic MRI? Is it possible if I can say, okay, give us a snapshot of what's going on in Gemini Sun's brain? A billion thoughts at once lying to me, right? But isn't the first and foremost, and isn't the cause of all of this, the fact that you have been treated unfairly? And maybe there's a whole history on that. So I feel like maybe it's not chaos. Maybe it is a reaction to unfair treatment. And maybe what else is up in here is the Tower reversed. You trying, like, I feel like you're going through something, like you're going through a big deal. And I feel like you're going through a big deal and your brain is reacting to that and it doesn't feel good. But I would say, like, you know, if you break your arm, it's going to hurt. It's supposed to. Similar thing here. This is not a comment on your intuition. This is not a comment on anything other than you are withstanding some stuff right now and you are doing what you have to do to make that happen. So when you are in that place of a chaotic mind lying to me, the Magician, these cards are like, I couldn't make this up. What you have to do, and you know, I suggested this to someone else also, write down the lies, write down all the thoughts. You can type it out, get a piece of paper, write it down, and identify where those thoughts came from. Who told you that? Where did you give that idea? Where did you get that idea? Where are these thoughts coming from? Because they're not coming from your brain originally. It's something someone has said to you or something you've heard or inferred. So find out what the thoughts are, where they came from, and then, and this is why I really like writing it down, then you can just like cross off, cross off, cross off. Bullshit, 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 bullshit. Just cross them all off. It is a great psychological and magical exercise that will help you, I think. Let me know what you think. Good. Nessa's going to give the fractions a voice. Oh, good. You have one of those Tarot for Writers books. Good, 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 good. Okay. And Smile Soul 20, it's so good to see you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being a member for more than 3 years. Okay. Oh my gosh. Gemini Sun, thanks so much. I'll give that a shot. Yeah, let me know how it goes. Joyce Ocean, so good to see you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being a member for more than 3 years. We're so looking forward to your presentation at StaarCon. My intuition tells me my son is freaking out. I had horrible dreams last night, couldn't sleep, woke up to have missed 3 calls from him. Turns out he's had a car accident. He was not at fault and told the people he was going to give the money, and they're pressuring him now. My intuition says all is well, but he doesn't feel safe since they have his address. So insurance is not involved here? This is like, I mean, it's an interesting thing. Okay. So I think we're going to look at this situation. Your son, it's so great. And the Queen of Swords is, y'all, our conversation is about intuition and the Queen of Swords is stalking us. Do you love tarot? I love tarot. Okay. So Joyous Ocean, you have a good relationship with your son where he will call you. when he has problems, and you can usually trust your intuition surrounding him. Now, the situation with these people, like, I don't quite know what's going on here, but this situation needs to change. I feel like he did something either in good faith or because he thought it was the right thing to do, but it wasn't the right thing to do. The situation needs to change now. It is not working out, and it is upsetting to him for real reasons. But what they are doing is ridiculous. And so I don't know. No police report, though I made him file the claim. You may need to go file a police report after the fact, is what needs to happen. And I think the lack of police report is probably the issue here, although I absolutely understand why we don't always want to bring the police into a situation, because they can be dangerous, you know? So I understand. I get it. I get the problem. And I have questions about if it were a different person driving, if we would be having these same questions, you know, not because your son's a bad driver, but simply because of things in our society. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, I do feel like we need to get larger eyes on this so that these people, like your son acted in good faith, they didn't. Now, do they pose a danger to him? Get this straightened out. They're sneaky and I don't like it. I'm sure he's fine. I'm sure he will be fine. But get this straightened out. And this is where you really need to stop it. You really need to step in and hold his hand as mom and walk him through this. If that means the two of you together going down to the police station to have a conversation about what we can do, then that's what you do. Because I would never send him alone there. So it's tough, but it will be fine, but you need to step in. Does that make sense? And Baby Cakes reminds you can file the police report at the police station after the fact. I did so last week. But Baby Cakes, I think you look more like me. And a person who looks like me walking into a police station is not as dangerous as a person who looks different. And that's the thing. That's real. So it's something that has to be done with strategy. Excuse me, to avoid unpleasantness. All right. Excuse me. Okay. DH. So good to see you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being a member for more than a year. What advice does Spirit have for me? DH? I'm doing this in a minute, but yeah, exactly. They were all young Black adults in New Jersey at 1 a.m. You know, I could just see us looking at each other and saying, should we? No, we should not. We would like to live to see the end of the day. Or not get arrested or any other weird stuff that could happen. And I'm not saying that's every cop, and I'm not saying that happens to every person, but I am saying statistically, I understand the problem. And that's the nuance of it. And that's where you, as, I hate to say this, as a woman who knows how to communicate for the comfort of, I'm just going to say it. You know how to communicate for white comfort. So you're the one who goes in and does that to make sure that the cops are comfortable because they need to be. That's it. You know, if you don't think I worry every single day about the well-being of my son-in-law in this regard, I get it. All right. Joyous Ocean, texting him now. Got it. Pray him up. We sure will. I think you'll solve this. I think you've got the skill to do it. You know how to do it. So there it is. Lila C. West, purging old paradigms? Are we? I thought we just decided to embrace them. That's what I was seeing happening. I mean, not here, but in the greater planet. It feels like the planet is like, oh no, we love those old paradigms. Let's keep them. Not just here, everywhere. All right. Let's see what we got next. Oh, DH, I just picked up your card. I got so intense on that. I just picked up your card, but I remember what it was. It was the Wheel of Fortune. And I'm going to give you another card, and we'll combine those two to give you a reading. DH, thank you for your patience. Thanks for being a member. You got the Wheel of Fortune and the Queen of Wands, DH. What are we going to say about that? The advice from Spirit is to look at the ways that you are cycling. There's your Wheel of Fortune. That you are cycling with your creativity, your energy, your joie de vivre. Where are you not feeling those things? Where are you not feeling those things? Bring them back in. The Wheel of Fortune tells you can bring them back in and keep them. So you're looking for what you have to do, DH, to nurture creativity, your connection to Spirit, your ability to feel vitality and youthful and have some fun. All right. Camille Walks with Spirits. Thanks for being here. We really appreciate you. Joyce Ocean, we love you. Baby Cakes, thanks for the reminder that that can be done. It's a good thing. Okay. Camille Walks with Spirits. So good to see you. Can't wait to see you at StaarCon. Hang on. Melissa, so good to see you. Can't wait to see you at StaarCon. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being a member for more than 3 years. Thanks for using members-only emojis. Where in my body does my intuition speak most clearly? I've always felt it in my stomach, but want to confirm. I have an exercise that can help confirm that. I'll do that with you sometime. But yeah, I think it is your stomach. But I'm going to say, let's move it specifically to and this is very interesting, to the solar plexus chakra. I really feel like you need to be doing some solar plexus work. Solar plexus chakra work, like when you go see a Reiki person. And I think that will help open it up and maybe quell some of the issues that you're having in that area. The other thing is, I think your top 3, 1, 2, 3 chakras, like you could do a lot of chakra work. And I know you do. I know you do. But lean into it even more. Lean into the chakra work even more, but I think you're right. It is ultimately there. Okay. Liz Harrison, so good to see you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being a member for more than a year. Love this topic. I've been working on intuitive eating this year, and it's making such a difference with how I feel and my body responds. That's so cool. Okay. Yes, Trey Cameron, this is such an interesting thing. And I know this because of TikTok, like the things we learn on TikTok. Trey says, did you know that some people who can't see images in their mind, it's called aphantasia? And so, like, if you're leading a guided visualization meditation, there are going to be some people who just like, yeah, no, I got nothing. And they just can't. And it's also true that the voices in our head are different for different people. And I never knew that. Like, we all walk around thinking that everyone's thought process is pretty much like our own. And apparently there are several different ways that we are in our head. So that's so interesting to me. Melissa, oh my gosh, yes, you're 3. You've been a member for 3 years. Oh my gosh, Melissa, we did a psychic surgery a year ago in my solar plexus. And in my solar plexus were all sorts of sticky things and a need. See, there you go. The cards do not lie. Okay. Next question. It's Angelic Michelle. My intuition is off because I don't feel myself. What can I do to get back in the flow? And here's the thing. And again, I'm speaking as an older person. And I recognize the anti-aging wellness community will tell me that at any age I should be able to feel 100% and pain-free. I notice all of those people saying that to me are in their 30s and 40s. Did you notice that? And I do recognize that young or old, a lot of us have some things that make us not feel well, either permanently or temporarily. If it's temporary, we just wait. But if you're going to have to navigate with, some chronic unwellness or whatever, then yeah, you're going to have to learn how to override that. And that's where my intuitive box comes in, the visualization of taking all of that and taking it away from me so I can be in my intuitive mind. That is a thing I can do. And I do recommend that to you and others. But for you specifically, Angelic Michelle, what can you do? Oh, ouch. Michelle, the question, what can I do to get back in the flow? 8 of Swords, man. My question is, and I'll ask the cards, not you, but you could answer too if you wanted, like what you're going through right now. What's the prognosis? It's uncomfortable right now, and it looks like it's going to take a little bit of time. So you're right that there's some things here you got to get used to or work through or deal with and be intuitive at the same time. You're absolutely right. How should you do this? Okay, Tower reversed. Okay. I am going to give you a personal example from my own work. And, different body parts at different times, different issues at different times. But when we're not feeling well, that's an alert. It puts us on alert. That's the sign you're supposed to do something. System's not operating normal. We have an error message. When we're not feeling well, it's an error message in our body. And so we are consciously and subconsciously reacting to that error. Oh no, there's an error. I have to fix it. What's going on? Blah, 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 blah. And then that turns into I don't feel well, or I'm angry that I don't feel well, or I'm sad that I don't feel well, and all of that thing. We have to override it by saying to ourselves, it is a known quantity. It is a known quantity. this does not mean I, in this moment, need to do something about it. It's calling for action, but I do not need to give it action. And just in that, you'll make space for the intuition to come back up. Let me know what you think. Right, Jeannie, my brother doesn't see pictures when he reads. Yeah, some people don't. Oh, Martha, I sometimes have trouble with imagining scenarios in guided meditations. Didn't know it was a thing. It is a thing. Yes. Yes, that is a real thing. Different people are wired differently. And I didn't know that when I was younger. And so I would wonder, like, I thought it would be me. If I was leading a guided meditation, I thought it would be me if not everyone went there. And now I realize, I should be a lot kinder to the people in the group who are not, big visualizers, and offer, like, if you're not a big visualizer, this is what you do. Okay. Jeannie, oh, the hat. Yeah, it does. It looks like the sorting hat. How can you argue with the sorting hat? It is so cute. Isn't that great? Okay. Okay. Lila. Yeah. Hang on. Okay. Lila C. West, so good to see you. Tarot techniques to open those chakras, and can you talk about pendulum readings? That's a lot. That's a whole class. Tarot techniques to open chakras. I would use the cards to read chakras, and I might also place cards on the chakras. Specifically aces. I like aces for chakras. So I'm going to put the Ace of Cups on my heart to open the heart. I'm going to put my Ace of Swords on my throat to open my throat and also my third eye. So I will do tarot placement on the chakras. Ace of Wands obviously goes on the solar plexus. So that you're right. I do that. I hadn't thought about it, but I do. You're right. Pendulums. I don't want to talk about pendulum readings right now because that's a whole thing, but pendulums to stir up and clean the chakras. Oh my gosh. Have a person lie down, hold the pendulum over them, each chakra, see how it swings, send your healing energy to it. If you don't get a good swing, the swing will improve. The chakra is opening and spinning. So yeah, those. All right. In a nutshell. Okay. Going through. Oh, I'm just seeing your feedback now, Jeannie. Fire, something to add. Also working intuitively as a leader in the community with the Emperor. I love that. Oh my gosh. Camille, Claire's about to come over before you go to work. And is that our Claire? She's become our Claire now because she's come to StaarCon. My question is, what can I do to improve and fine-tune my intuition, both personally and professionally? Personally, the Tower. Not everything is a crisis, and even if it is a crisis, don't think about it as a crisis. Tone down on the catastrophe. You don't do this at work at all, but in your personal life, you can get really catastrophic in your own mind. That's the thing, not a catastrophe. Try that. And professionally, you don't need to. I mean, it's King of Wands. Like, how do you get more than that? You're naturally doing it. Like, I am happy to give you all the business coaching you need. I'm very uncomfortable telling you anything about how to work professionally because I think you tap into some real magic and tradition that is not mine and I don't know it. And look at y'all. So, but I'll go further. Is there more you can do when you're with a client to really open up to that intuition. Ace of Wands reverse. No, I think you're doing great. I think you're doing great. Reach out to me privately. If you're having a particular client experience, I'd like to know about it and I'll help you with it. But there's nothing I can see right now. Okay, Mary, so good to see you. How can I know the difference between intuition and fear? If it's fear, it's not intuition. I mean, I'm sorry. It's a good question. You're smart. Sometimes I don't listen to my intuition because I think it's just fear. Well, exactly right, which is what I just told you to do. And that's where what you have to do, here's how you do it. Well, I'll do a reading, but let me tell you what I think. What you have to do is get the fear out of you. You have to say, okay, breathe. I'm going to move myself into a mindset where I don't give a if it happens, doesn't happen. I'm fine. I'm completely neutral. I could leave this planet right this minute and stay completely neutral. You have to get into that space and then experience it and see how you feel about it. That's what I would do. But let's look at the cards. I think a lot of this is about working on detachment. I really do. Working on detachment from both fear and desire, because those two things are kind of the same, right? Hopes and fears are the same, just opposites of the same thing. So yeah, I think you've got to really start working on that sense of compassionate detachment is the thing. So yeah, because the fear is covering up the intuition. That's the thing. If you get rid of the fear and it's still there, then it's real. And here it is, Lila. How can I increase my confidence to share my wisdom? Don't think of it as your wisdom. It's not. Think of it as either what you're getting from another person, like if you're reading for another person, it's their wisdom. You're sharing their wisdom. If it's something that you believe or a practice that you believe in or something like that, it's still not your wisdom. It's the wisdom of the tradition. You're just sharing it. So I would say take the word my out of the sentence and it gets so much easier. So meditation, Mary, would it be meditation or just cognitive thought? I would do it in cognitive thought, honestly, is just really, and you might not have seen my exercise. So my exercise before I do a reading is I visualize a box. I take all of my hopes, fears, whatever, put it there and take it here. Now, is that a meditation? I suppose in a way it is. It's a quick visualization, but it's also sort of cognitive. So I guess technically, yeah, that is a meditation. It's a 30-second meditation, but it is a meditation. You're right. You're right. Something like that. All right. Oh, good, Mary. That is fabulous. My great pleasure. You are very welcome. All right. I am scrolling through looking for questions. Justine, so good to see you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being a moderator. We appreciate you. How do my guides want me to better use their guidance and productively and efficiently? I think they want you to guide yourself. Honestly, I would say, do what you need to do for your own best interest. Like, I feel like your guides could go for coffee at this point and just let you do the obvious logical things that you need to do. And that would be good. Jackie Masters, so good to see you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being a member for more than 3 years. I can sometimes overthink things. Really? Oh, sorry. I can too. What do I need to do to move past that and turn my intuition? Why does my intuition take a back seat? How can I change this and be more connected? I love this question. Okay. What do you need to do? There's that Emperor. So I do love fire with the Emperor. But I'm also going to say sacred space. Create sacred space for yourself. Do the rituals. Like, I know we all want to be just very intuitive as we're driving and walking down the street and all of that, and we'll get there. But in the meantime, do the rituals to create the sacred space in which you can have that mindset. Now, what can you do in the day-to-day to get rid of some of that overthinking? Two of Swords. Well, the problem is when we're overthinking, then we start overthinking about overthinking, and we start shit-talking ourselves for overthinking. Laugh at it. Be like, okay, yeah, I see that. And then just get on to the next best thought. So we release overthinking by not overthinking about overthinking. You see what I'm saying? All right. Let me know if that was helpful. Okay, scrolling through. Baby cakes. And baby cakes, you're the last question. So after I do baby cakes, it's going to be A, time to check to see if I skipped you. And B, last call for readings, y'all. All right. How is my intuition doing? What do my spirit guides have to say about it? Okay, I love that, baby cakes. The Chariot. You are very good at seeing your way forward to specific tasks and specific things. You are not as good at just sort of being open to, okay, what do I need to know right now? And so that might be a good exercise for you. What do I need to know right now? And see what comes. Justine, love that you still haven't put this fairy deck down. You are the fairy godmother after all. You know, and I hated this deck until I became that. So that you just, Justine, you just solved a mystery. Thank you. And Jeannie, this is an interesting one. I often use visualizations in teaching. I'm wondering how you modify it for non-visual people. I'm going to start playing with that, and I'll let you know my results. Oh, Camille. Camille walks with spirits. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Martha, I skipped your question. Did you give me a question? I skipped your question. Would you do me a huge favor of reiterating your question, Martha? It's good to see you, because I don't remember that camp song, although I do remember some. Camille, thank you so much for the super sticker. I really, really appreciate it. Yeah, I did miss you, Martha. I do not remember that song. I remember many camp songs. Jackie, that was very helpful. I'll get back to doing the rituals more regular. I used to, and I found it calming. Okay, I will scroll back to you. I am so sorry I missed you, but I'm not going to be missing you at StaarCon. Okay, here it is. Got it. Martha Vink, I found you. How can I improve my intuition, and is that possible? So, such a good question. One of the things we talked about is it possible for people to improve their intuition? I think it is. But I don't know if you're improving your intuition or if you're improving your listening skills. Your listening skills. And how do we improve our listening skills? We have to quiet our mind. Quiet the mind, improve the listening skills. So I think we absolutely can do that. But Martha, for you, how can you improve your intuition? Thanks for reiterating the question. We have You're best in nature, Martha. You're good when you're in nature and you're good when you're with your animals. So being in quiet space in nature is when you're going to be most intuitive. And I think, yeah, and calming the overthinking. You know, it's like, why did Jesus go to the desert for 40 days? Because it's quiet up in there, right? It's all about finding the space of quiet. And I think that will help. Lumen, good to see you. Thanks for being here. Camille, thanks so much. What's hilarious is that, yes, our Claire was walking through the door at the exact moment you started pulling cards for me. She's very excited to be coming. She also agrees with everything you just said. I love that. I love that. I love that. Right, Martha Viggs, quiet the mind. Yikes. Okay, well, let's do that. For Martha or anyone, how the F does one quiet one's mind? Seven of Swords reversed. I think that's where meditation comes in. And for me, it is the focus on the breath. If I think about breathing and nothing else, I think about the oxygen. I think about where it's going and what it's doing. And that helps. But yeah, being out in nature will absolutely do it for you, Martha, for sure. For sure. Lumen, good to see you. If you have a question, let us know. And, Baby Cakes never thought about why Jesus went to the desert. Well, see, this is my special relationship with Martha. Martha and I met at church camp when we were kids because both of our dads were Methodist ministers. Martha herself went on to follow in her father's footsteps and become a Methodist minister. So Martha will probably get more Jesus reference from me than others for that reason, right? Because that's in our history together. So going back to what Jeannie was saying, and this might be helpful for Martha too, because Martha is also not an easy visualizer. How do we teach or help ourselves when visualization is what we're teaching or being taught and we don't visualize well? What do we do? How do we handle that? What's a way? It's a mystery. But, we've all seen the moon. I mean, what if this is literal? What if you start with just visualize the moon? What does the moon look like? See the moon, any phase of the moon, your favorite phase of the moon, see it in your head and hang on to that. Maybe that's where we start. Something simple that is universal to all of us. Maybe? I don't know. It's an interesting one. I think that's a whole thing. Now that we recognize that it's not a failure to not visualize, it's a wiring issue, we teachers are going to have to work with this. And I'm not quite sure how to do it yet, but we'll figure it out together, I'm sure. My friends, I am so grateful to you. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you. Special shout out to the members, the moderators. Links in the description. Read the newsletter, subscribe to the newsletter, become a member, have a reading with me. I work throughout the holiday season. Get your ticket for StaarCon. And if you are a StaarCon 2024 ticket holder, Serena Fox and I are doing a session at 5:30 Eastern tonight in her lounge. And this is evidence of how valuable the StaarCon ticket is, because StaarCon was last freaking January and we're still doing it. Same will be true with StaarCon 5. Oh, Wendy, you are just coming in under the wire. Have you a question regarding intuition? So good to see you. Thanks for being here. I'll hang out and see if you or anyone else have further questions regarding intuition. So glad to see you all. I will also remind those of you who are local. Oh, Febborn, I missed you. I'm going back to Febborn. Never miss Febborn. Is clairsentience the same as intuition? I'm not sure. Yeah, Martha, it's not. There's nothing wrong with you. It's just a way your brain is. Okay, we're going to do Febborn, then we'll do Wendy. Fairborn, Febborn, is clairsentience the same thing as intuition? I don't know. Can anyone answer that? Maybe? I'm going to say maybe. Do you have intuition? You do, but it was kind of beat out of you as a child. I think that you can reclaim intuition. And that is the right thing to do. And you reclaim intuition. For you, I think, I'm going to say second chakra work is going to be really important to help open up your intuition. Clairsentience, if it's a different thing, you actually do have a lot of that. You do actually have a lot of knowledge that comes to you. So I wonder if you're good. Okay, here's maybe the difference. Clairsentient is what's going on out here, and intuition is what's going on in here. Maybe, I don't know. But I feel like whatever the difference is, you have an easier time with that clairsentience than you do with the internal stuff. That's what I think. And Wendy Robeson, so great to see you. Thanks for being a member for more than 2 years. Thanks for being a moderator. How can you better your intuition? By releasing your anxiety. And that truly is the same as the rest of us. But I mean, look at that. 8 of Swords reversed. Like, have you ever seen a more clear message? Much love to you, Justine. So good to see you. I haven't put the links up yet, but here's how the rest of the week goes. Friday, normal. I'll be here at noon. Saturday, I'm at the library. No Saturday Psychic Sampler. I'm going to try to pop on at some point with a Sunday pop-up. I'll do my best. Monday, usual. Claire C., good to see you. Could automatic writing help my intuition? I don't know if it would help your intuition, but it would certainly help something. I think it might help your mediumship, but it's a good idea and it will get you through a lot of stuff. So I think it's smart and I think it's a good idea. All right, friends, other questions, anything else? I appreciate all of you so very much. Thank you so much for being members of this village. Share the village with your friends, not your silly friends, your good friends, only your best friends. Invite your best friends to this village. What deck is this? It is Fairy Tarot. Look at me. Fairy Tarot from US Games. All right. My friends, thank you so very much. Take really good care. I'll see you tomorrow. Book your reading. Get your StaarCon ticket. Join us tonight in the Excellence Lounge if you can. And I'll see you tomorrow for your Friday weekly wrap-up. Be good. Take care. Febborn, I just did you. I just came back and did you. And in a lengthy way, like if you scroll back like 2 seconds, I just realized I had missed you. And went back and did you substantially and in a weird, it was weird. Go back and watch it. It was kind of weird. In a good way, but weird. All right. My friends, see you later.